Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
Good mythical Saturday night for a special Saturday night special of Fireside Chats with me, John Crump. I am the director of GOA, and I am the second most read firearms journalist in the world. Yes, you heard that right, and that is kind of cool. I'm very proud of that. I'm coming for you, Dave Workman. I'm coming for you. I'm going to pass you. No, probably not. Dave's a really cool guy, and he is a close friend. He is number one. So let me just get this out before we get into everything. I'm going to keep this really, really short because we got a lot to get in. We're going to have multiple guests today, and we're going to be talking about whether we're in the Civil War. But before we get into that, let me just throw out my plugs. You can support me on Patreon. When I say support me, you're actually supporting childhood treatment for a child with DIPG, which is childhood brain cancer. All proceeds, everything, super chats, everything, even my web store goes to that. So you can patreon.com/John Crump. You can also super chat us. That's the way you can do it. $25 gets you a signed book, and $5 gets you a new PVC patch, which will be shipping within the next 5 days to me. I'll be able to get it out a week later. So I'm going to hit the October 1st deadline really, really early. I also have a book out. You can go to cruppy.com/giants and order on Amazon. Antifa is assholes. Yes, you're right. I just wanted to say that. Also, when we hit 2,000 subscribers, you can get this Mantis X10 Elite. That is on YouTube. John Crump too. I know we watch this from multiple different places. Guns and Barbecue. I should have had you on. Did you get an invite? If you want, man. I can send you the link and you can just join up. But 2,000 subscribers, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel and comment. Every comment on every video is one entry per video. And Patreons, whatever dollar amount you are a Patreon of, you get extra entries. All right. So tonight we are going to be talking about something that people keep on asking me to have a show on, and this is the next American Civil War. I have somebody from the past and some new friends and some medium range friends that are coming on. So let me go ahead. I'm going to bring them on one by one by the order that they joined the channel, and we're going to be having other people come in during the show. First up, we have MJ. MJ RC Full. He also was one of my co-host for like about 5 years on a show called Patriot News Podcast, which this show actually developed out of. I like doing the interview portion, so I just started doing the interview portion, and then everyone got busy, and besides me, well, I always busy, probably more than anyone else, but I still like doing it, so I do it still. MJ, and let's go ahead. The next guest up is Mike from Stop Gun Bans.
How's it going? Congratulations, number 2.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And from the Shooting Gallery, also YouTuber who has his own show, and his name is John Voorhees. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hey, John.
Okay,
How's it going?
let's get this out of the way up front right now. Guns and Barbecue. Hold on, I will email you right now the link to the show. But all right, so I'm gonna email it from my personal, so whatever. So MJ, tell me where people can find you at.
Okay, so as you guys can see behind me, I try and keep certain things away from the politics. You guys can find me at Wrecker RC, WRECKER RC, on the tube of views, as well as Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to disclose I am an advocate, staunch Second Amendment supporter. I have been known to show up at some major events. And man, guys, I'm looking at our co-host. It's an honor to speak with you guys, have a great conversation. It's been I've been following you guys as well for a while, so I'm really looking forward to actually conversing with you. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me on, John.
All right, John Voorhees, where can people find you at?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. John Michael Voorhees on Facebook, Gunny John 29 on Instagram, and then John Voorhees on YouTube. Just look for the avatar. It's a handgun profile pic.
All right, and Mike, how about you?
Facebook /Stop Gun Bans, Twitter @Stop Gun Bans, and StopGunBans.com.
There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the serious situation here, the Second American Civil War. For a little context, about 4 years ago, we had a show on the Patriot News podcast about are we heading to another civil war anytime soon? I said, I think in about 5 years, within 5 years, it is going to heat up. And we are going to see some we're going to see it become more of a hot war than anything else. And I gave it about a 50-50 chance. And at the time, a lot of people out there was like, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. I want to talk to those people out there in the audience. Do you still think I'm crazy? All right. So, MJ, are we heading for a Second American Civil War? Plus, I wore my boog gear tonight, boog hat. Oh, by the way, before I get into this, I almost forgot. We are sponsored. I almost forgot the sponsor. Oh my God, that would have been bad. We are sponsored by Hawaiian House. Hawaiian House makes some really cool stuff, just like this Hawaiian hat, and they make boog themed stuff. So yeah, so use code Crumpy for 10% off there. You can also use Crumpy. If you go to crumpy.com/militia, that brings you to the Crumpy Militia collection. You can use Crumpy to 10% off there. All right, MJ, sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, that's all.
Civil War.
It's all good. So do you want the short version or long version?
Short.
All right.
Long later.
I give it 3 more years for more physical action and more of a, I don't want to say consequences, but definitely a lasting event to happen.
All right. And let me go to John Voorhees. Short answer, yes or no? New American Civil War.
Yes. It could be 2 years, 5, 7. Who knows? With the way things are happening, I would say we are heading towards it. Because this is the same stuff that the Nazis did.
All right. All right. Now let's go over to our esteemed guest, Mike from Stop Gun Bans. How about you, man? What say you?
I say maybe. Yes, if Biden wins. Probably not if Trump wins. But maybe.
That's an interesting thing, man. So you think that there's more of a chance of a civil war if Biden wins than Trump? I don't know.
Trump doesn't seem to rile up the people who have all the guns. Biden does. So, but at the same time, Antifa is starting all these forest fires. So it's kind of hard to. I don't know. I say maybe.
No, I mean, I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory or not. I thought it was true, but now more I look into it, the more I don't know.
I guess I'm looking at the way Antifa is. I think no matter what they do, whether it's Biden or Trump, they're going to continue their shenanigans. It started in 08, 09, 2010, and it cooled off for a little bit, and then it ramped back up right around election time, as usual. That's why I give mine about 3 years.
Interesting. Go ahead.
I say whatever candidate wins this year, it would start it, because if Trump wins, the violence is still going to escalate. And if Biden wins, patriots would rise up.
I think you might be right. And I think the people on the left are starting to arm themselves a little bit. I think that's why people backed off the gun ban stuff. I know in Virginia right now we're having a special session. And back when they were first talking about having a special session after the last session ended last March, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna bring up gun stuff." and now it's just like, yeah, 2 gun stuff came up, but of pro gun stuff and no anti-gun stuff came up. And I think it's because that for the COVID thing and the rioting and stuff, that people realize that what the Second Amendment is there for, and it's not for killing a deer. So right now I'm thinking maybe, apathy is what can stop the next American Civil War. But yeah, it's crazy.
As much as I would love to see the apathy stopping it, the downside is I don't think it will. We're looking at at true extremists and people who truly believe in their cause, and they're willing to fight and put themselves on the line physically and emotionally. It is what it is, but they're willing to put themselves on the line physically, and I think that's what's the big difference.
Silverback, you jackass, you're late. People are like, Silverback sent me. I'm like, well, where the hell is he? And then all of a sudden you popped up. Okay, so we're going to backtrack a little bit here just to get you on the same page as everyone else. All right. Next American Civil War, is it going to happen? Yes or no?
Well, I'm going to lean 70% towards yes. I mean, we're already kind of in it right now, if you think about it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely heating up here, and yeah, I got to make some Civil War T-shirts. Next American Civil War T-shirts. Okay, and second question for you, Silverback, you sexy beast from Virginia. Is it more likely to happen if Biden wins or Trump wins, or it doesn't really matter?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think Trump is still on top, at least for right now, because a lot of people are really realizing that Biden he's not all there, but, and again, at the same time, I also think it doesn't matter, because I think between all this mail-in voting crap and everything that's going on, I think they're trying to stall the election as long as possible till the Speaker of the House can take the position interim.
Interesting theory there, man.
Oh gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Did you see Biden did? He did a Ask Me Anything and did not answer any questions.
I didn't see that.
How
Are
do
we
you ask
surprised?
anything and not ask any and answer any questions? That's the whole point of it. Ask Me Anything.
Right.
He just kept on. I think it was a bot, actually.
His questions don't.
Go ahead. Tom.
His questions don't make any sense.
Yeah.
His words don't make any sense.
He doesn't make any sense. The guy's got some sort of dementia, and it's advanced.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump has his Trumpisms, but at least they come to a point and they bring together what he's trying to say. It might take the really long road. It's like listening to a history teacher, but it is what it is.
Yeah, at least with Trumpisms, you can fix it with a tweet. Biden, there's no fixing what he's up to.
Yeah. Okay. So
Trump loves Twitter.
Well, let's say the next American Civil War does break out. Here's a question for you: how is it going to be fought? And I will take this up front and say that I think it's going to be small scale skirmishes between right and left. It's not going to be like these states or these states. It's going to be pockets of people versus pockets of other people. And I add guns and barbecue in here as well. So I think it's going to be pockets versus pockets.
I like that.
Like a marching army versus marching army.
I'd like to add that if anything, I think it's going to start on the West Coast, particularly Oregon, Washington State, up there. Portland. I think that's going to be that is Boston of the American Revolution is Portland right now. So that said,
Yes.
I have to agree with you. It's going to be pocketed throughout the nation, and it's going to be on the coasts.
Yeah.
Going to be in primarily Democratic-run cities and states.
It will be, but now you're
Yes.
seeing it move out into the suburbs, which is kind of scary. Guns and barbecue. We're gonna backtrack with a little bit with you. Some rapid fire questions, short answers. Do you think we're gonna hit the next American Civil War anytime soon?
If we're not already seeing it, then I don't think so.
All right, so you don't think that we're going to hit the next American Civil War?
If we do, I don't think it's going to be in a traditional war sense, like a lot of people think, where it's going to be, the us against the government or anything like that. If it's just the sense of, we got two people with different ideologies, the pro-gunners versus Antifa, or pro-gunners versus Black Lives Matter, or anything like that, and they want to call that a civil war, then I would say we're already experiencing the beginning of it.
No, yeah, then I agree with you. That's exactly what I think it's going to look like. Okay, do you think that it's going to heat up if Biden wins or if Trump wins?
If Biden wins, I think the only way it heats up is if they do something very drastic to infringe on our rights. If Trump wins, it just depends on how the left decides to try and rally their base for the next 4 years.
I gotcha.
Agreed.
Makes sense.
To me, in that scenario, if Biden wins or the Democrats, because now they control the Senate and the House. So if they control the presidency too, and they have all three branches there going on, it just depends on what move they make next. Now, if they make the move to use executive order to completely kill the Second Amendment and the First Amendment like they're trying to do, then I think it won't be a civil war, it'll be a revolution.
Silverback bananas. They only control the House. We still have the Senate.
Yeah, but that's gonna be close.
If Trump loses, he's taking the Senate down with him.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very close.
Yeah.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, it's kind of scary. If Trump loses, we lose the White House, the Senate, maybe the Senate. He's probably going to take down the Senate with him. The House, I don't think, are going to win back, and then we're going to lose the Supreme Court.
Sorry, yeah, you're right. I was thinking about Virginia.
Which is going to be very bad, very bad for if you're a pro-gun guy. So I'm not the biggest Trump fan in the world, but I am going to vote for him just because of SCOTUS and some other things. But that you can vote for whoever you want. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. If you want to vote for Biden, you can go ahead and vote for Biden. Just remember, the Democrats vote in a month later this year. So if you're a Democrat, you're going to have to vote in December and not November, just to get that out there. So if you vote for Biden, you go to the polls in December, not November. Just
the first Saturday in December.
First Saturday in December, yes. You go to your local Starbucks where they're holding the polls in Starbucks.
That's right.
First Saturday in December. And that's where you cast your vote for Biden, a Harris ticket.
You get a free latte.
You do get a free latte, yes.
They're hosting a voting booth at Black Rifle Coffee on November 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend that he's Hotep Jesus, which is I don't know if you guys know who that guy is. Hotep Jesus is kind of out there dude. You can see him on Joe Rogan. He does Joe Rogan show. I had him on my show before he became famous with his weird beliefs, but he's a cool guy. Just a little bit nuts. So, and he went into Starbucks and he said, "Yeah, Did you see you guys are supposed to give us reparation coffee now? Free coffee for reparations? And the girl at Starbucks is like, oh, yeah, I did hear about that. And give us free coffee. And he's like,
Props to him on that
That's
one.
awesome. Good for him.
yeah, Hotel Jesus is a funny guy, man. Very funny guy. I'm going to bring in Matt.
Celebrity.
Hey, Matt. That's Cowboy. Producer Matt.
Okay, you redneck.
If you don't know,
Hey, MJ.
if you don't know, Matt is the producer of this show. He does a lot to support us, and he's a great guy. You know,
So
okay, Matt, we're gonna do some
Working
rapid
on
fire
that.
questions with you, so we can
That hair there, buddy.
all right, so
What up, Matt?
Okay, first one. Are
hey,
we
Silverback.
are we heading for a civil
man.
war?
Yes.
All right.
All right, do you want me to elaborate on that a little bit?
I said short answer, but I guess. Okay.
All right.
Are we more likely to hit it there if Biden wins or Trump wins?
I'm going to say Biden 100%. Trump would be about a 50-50. The reason I say Biden 100% is because right now you see the left constantly attacking the right, and the right is just defending what they stand for. And that's the skirmishes that's going on right now, especially up there in Portland, Oregon, and all the other Democrat-controlled cities. All right, so if Biden wins, they will have the push, but the right is known for being a lot more exact. Honestly, I predict if Biden wins the presidency, that the right will be pushing back. We've been trying to do the legal, or they have been trying to do the legal the right way for so long. They just been pushed to the line. And if Biden wins, well, they would be pushed beyond the line, and they will respond with any way possible.
All right.
If Trump wins, I think it's a 50-50 because the Democrats may or may not continue to try this methodology. They have been trying to stir up the Black communities behind BLM, the Antifa, and if that doesn't get shut down, or if BLM does not police their own communities a little bit better, it may go out of hand there.
Yeah, interesting comments there. All right, so next question here. If there's a new American Civil War, well, now we're just going to go with the scenarios, right? Who will the government side with?
Well, that would again go to whoever.
I'd say 50-50. 50 on the left.
Sorry, Matt, I accidentally muted you.
I'd say 50-50. 50.
Go ahead, John.
I'd say 50-50. 50% on the left, 50% on. The reason I say that is if you look at liberal areas, you're going to have most of them with groups like Antifa. And if you look at the right, people like us, we'll have people like one of my representatives, Jim Jordan, defending us. So it's going to be a mixture. And this Civil War, like we're talking about, ain't going to be like North versus South. It's going to be harder because the enemy lives in states that could be our neighbors. It could be co-workers. So think about it. We didn't know who the enemy was over there.
All right. We got Davey Boy Bones in the house. Down the barrel, man. Freaking awesome guy. Awesome rifle. If you want a badass rifle, man, just check out Down the Barrel LLC. downthebarrelofficial.com, I believe it is. Hey, Davey, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions.
Well, I'm going to lean.
What the hell? All right, Davey, boy, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire questions, and we're gonna go to Guns and Barbecue. I got a question for you. Okay, so here it is to get you caught up. Do you believe that there will be the next American Civil War?
No.
No, you don't.
Well, no and yes. Well, fuck, I don't know. I'm kind of caught up on it because, here's the way I believe. Like, if we do get a civil war, I think it'll start somewhere like deep down south, because you know you got to look at all the states that had the situation happen and nothing's happened. Nobody's retaliated, so you're gonna have to find an area, or they're gonna push into an area where people are gonna stand up and retaliate, like Texas or Oklahoma or one of those areas. You know what I mean? So and then it's gonna end before it starts. Because you get a place like Texas, they're not gonna take that shit. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna run. No cops are gonna run. No cops are gonna quit. So it's like they know their limits to a certain extent. But then again, who knows? They may say fuck it, and then we're all out there trying to defend what we have.
All right. So you think it's gonna it might start, it might or might not, and if it does, it's gonna start in Texas.
Well, it's gonna start it because, see, here's the thing: you have to push the right people in order for that people to push back. And like if you see it like pushed in California, it's not. I mean, look at the laws they're passing. It's already done happen in Minnesota or whatever. Look at what happened. So you got to push the right people. So think about the people right now that if you went into their state and pushed them wrong, which ones will retaliate? You see what I mean? So it just depends on the people that they push. Like when the federal government, you remember when the federal government tried to take that dude's cows or something?
The Bundy Ranch.
The Oklahoma militia came out. They pushed the right people.
Nevada.
You see what I mean?
All right. Yeah,
I was here.
Oh, by the way. Yeah, no, it was in Nevada. By the way, for everyone in the chat out there, and our chat's not working again, of course, and for the panel, Davy Boy Bones is my Sifu, and he is my Sifu, and he is my spirit animal and my spiritual advisor.
That shit, it makes me feel good though. I appreciate that.
All right, so
That's my spirit animal.
It's a resemblance.
All right, Guns and Barbecue. Where do you think it's going to start? If it starts,
That's hard to really say. I'd like to go back to your other question of who do you think the government would back? And honestly,
good.
I think if the government backed anybody, it's going to be the side that they believes on their side, obviously, but which would most likely be left-leaning groups. So often you see in the media anybody that's a gun owner or anything like that, militia groups, etc. It's always right-wing extremists, and they're always painted as anti-government, things like that. And obviously elected officials, they like their cushy jobs, and they're going to want to back who's going to keep them in power and give them more power. But as far as where we'll start, where it's going to kick off, I think most likely places are just going to be places of high population density. So whether it's Chicago, Milwaukee, Portland, New York City, it's going to be some big city like that, I would imagine, if it did.
Midnight Rain says
Chicago.
Yep.
No.
Hold on.
I don't think Chicago. Because Chicago's pretty much destroying itself.
They're having a civil war inside their own city limits between the gangs.
Yeah, so
it has to spread out from there to the places where the people who just want to be left alone will be affected by it, and then it's going to burst from there.
Yeah.
That's what I say, Portland, still.
It's already been happening in Portland if you really look at it. Portland's where the Proud Boys has exploded against the Antifa and
and stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna happen where people that when you push them, they're going to push back. And you got to look at the cities that have already been affected by certain
Yeah.
things and certain laws, and they didn't push back. Like, look at New York's laws. Like, I can't even ship a gun there. Look at the places like that. They're not going to push back. There's no profitability in it for them to push back.
David, you bring up a great point. I mean, you're looking at a little bit of shenanigans down in Dallas and Houston, and what I really like to see is Governor Abbott stepping in and saying, "Well, you guys won't do this. You will defund departments. We're going to step in and take care of it in order to prevent exactly what we're talking about." To put a city on, from your point of view, Davey, I would put it at Atlanta specifically.
Atlanta might be a good choice. Portland has calmed down since they sent federal troops into Portland. The rioting has. Imagine that. Right.
Well, didn't they tear up South Atlanta?
Yeah,
and like three zones of cops quit. I mean,
yeah, dude, I was listening to that. They were like, basically, the dude took a taser off a cop and fired at the cop. So the cop pulled out his gun and shot the dude that had the taser. So then they burned down a Wendy's because of that. So the mayor came out and basically said, "I support you. The cops are evil, blah blah blah." So they decided they called it a blue out. So they called it a blue out, and so they didn't show up. And I was listening to that. And they would go on the phone like, "Oh, we need you to respond to blah blah blah," and the cops would be like, "No."
A civil war though, like it'll divide us up more than what you think. It's not going to be like Second Amendment against whatever. It's going to be racially motivated. It's going to be Second Amendment. Then it's going to break down to your location. So it's going to be like the Midwest against the South. It's going to break everyone down into individual sects. You know what I mean? There's going to be sections of people everywhere. And look anywhere else that they have civil wars.
I'd almost even take it county to county.
I really do think it's going to be more of a locality issue, not statewide or national even. And if it does happen, God forbid it ever does, but like in my locality, shoot, I'll be running. I mean, there's nothing I can do stand my ground. Yes, I know plenty of great individuals around here, but it's going to be, if it does ever happen, it's going to be an instant retreat, regroup, and take a look at the scenario. Now, if you go 30 minutes south, east, west, it's a completely different story. So I really do think everybody that's been speaking here are sort of right. It's going to be locality. I mean, you got Houston, you got St. Louis, then you got Portland, Oregon, then you have all the major, what they call the 5-city area off the coast. Yeah, that's going to be completely left, and the rest of California, especially Northern California, will be completely right control. And it's all going to come down to local and state on how it's being handled.
Okay, so what if? So these small skirmishes start. All right, the small skirmishes start, and say the Democrats or the left take the elections and become in control of the government. Now, do you think that they would send off the military in to fight against the skirmishes, or to fight on a particular side against one side or the other?
Do you look? I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here. It's gonna be bad. So what I hypothesize is a lot of the actual military members may take the risk and walk off. Those heavy left wingers that align with the government, whatever, they may take them and bring them in on the ranks, and there you go. Now that's as tinfoil as I can get, but we're in a weird situation. It's theoretically possible, It might only have a 1% chance, or even the 1/10%, but it's still not off base.
Yeah, but Davy Boy is you're a vet. So
Yeah.
what would you see the U.S. military marching against U.S. citizens on either side? If
It's
not,
hard.
if yes, why?
I mean, it's hard to say because, like, for me, like I was an MP, so it's like, you know, they would ask you certain things to let simulate that, and for me, it's like a no. And you got some vets that won't, but then you got to look at the people who see it as it's just an order. It's an order that they're given, and I don't think you'll see veterans like shooting down civilians or anything, but you might see them coming into plan a base of law enforcement, like new style law enforcement down. So like martial law type deal. But I don't think you'll see them like killing civilians or anything like that. I don't think you'll see that. You probably won't see like the active duty guys anyway. It'll all be like National Guard, which is pretty much people you know anyway. If anything, it'll be National Guard, which are the people that live around you. And you got to think it will your neighbor come in and do anything to you. You see what I mean? These are people that you eat with every day, and you see them every day on a regular basis. So I don't think it'll be like active duty comes in on you. No.
That said, I really agree with you, but you also have to look at the demographics and how each area works. Where you live, you might know every single neighbor up and down the street and in town. Where some of us are located, my neighbors don't even speak English, and I can't communicate with them across the board. So that again, I really think you're looking at a regional effect, just as you said with the National Guard aspect. But I really think you're looking at a different regional effect.
Yeah.
My neighborhood's too posh to do anything.
Do what now?
My neighborhood's too posh to do anything. That they're not going to do anything. They might.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, mine won't either. But I've got a point actually. I think people need to think about their actual police departments, because this is one point. The police department in wherever you live, some of them are going to be good guys that are pro-gun, and some of them are going to be the jackboot types that don't want you to have a gun. So you're going to have to look at that. And then as far as the military is concerned, I saw a study, this was probably during the Obama administration, but it said basically a young 18-year-old private might be willing to take an order to fire on civilians, but when you got up there and ranked to like sergeant and up, the idea of desertion came up, or splitting sides came up. And then my last point, if the government were to even get involved, the skirmish would have to be somewhere the government cares about, in my opinion. And they're not going to get involved as long as you're not shooting at them or attacking one of their installations or infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't know about that completely, because there's been high-ranking people in the military that have stated that they don't believe that we should have a Second Amendment, that, if we're not trained military, we don't deserve guns. So
I think we're all
they're trained to follow orders, and that's what they're going to do.
If
there might be a small percentage of them that break away, but I think most of them, because it's their life, it's their livelihood. They got to think about, I got to feed my wife and kids. I got to take care of my family. What is their decision going to be? How heavy is it going to hang on them? And what are they going to choose for themselves at that point? You got to think there's a fear factor in everything that happens, and people do stupid shit based off of fear.
All right, I'm gonna go to Matt. Matt had his hand up. Matt.
All right, I think we're all looking past one certain aspect of something that's already has been happening. If you look at some of what's going around in the back of the scenes, in like for say Portland and a lot of the riots, the federal government has stepped in and I guess you could say deputized some of the state police enforcement, into a so that way they go in and they just go grab the leaders of the groups. And so it's very well possible, yes, while these skirmishes are going around, the leadership's just getting picked up and nabbed. And what does the mob do without a leader? It just sort of disperses. So yes, I do see skirmishes happening. And like I mentioned earlier, it depends on who wins, on how bad it gets, or the 50-50 part of it. But there are certain aspects of law enforcement on the federal level that can step in and I want to say minimize the effect. So, or if you look at the whole picture, it's not just the National Guard marching down the street. There's some stuff in the background. What was it, about a month ago? Antifa got, if I remember correctly, declared a domestic terrorist group, and anytime Antifa groups were getting together, a white van would show up, grab the leader, and haul ass out of the way. So there's other ways that the government can act. Like I said, if Trump wins, it's a 50-50 chance because he's able to do that. If Biden wins, I fully expect a civil war on the behalf, or on a reaction point from the right.
Right.
I don't think either side's going to accept the results with all this mail-in going on.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, it's gotten to the point in the political atmosphere that the left won't agree with anything on the right. And the right, or to be honest with you, if you look at the negotiation table, the right wants to give a little bit and try and talk. But there's certain points that they won't give. And the left, the demands are just so freaking outrageous and stupid. And it's this or nothing with them. So who's being an asshole here? And a lot of people here, especially John, both John Crump and Voorhees, Silverback probably too, MJ also. I've been trying my hardest to stay in the middle and balance everything, all the decisions, what the right does correctly and wrongly, what the left does correctly and wrongly, what's the best way to do it, and how to negotiate. But beyond, it's gotten to a point where I'm fed up. The left are freaking assholes. They won't give an inch, and they're wrong.
They say the same about us. We've had 12 years of both sides demonizing each other, so
Absolutely.
Nobody's the person anymore. Is how it's looking.
Yeah, no one wants to give anymore.
Nope.
It's all about the division, and that's where they're putting it. They're dividing everybody.
Right.
They want to divide everybody so much that we're at each other's throats. We need to all come together and make them realize that they work for us, not that we work for them.
That's the real answer right there, Silverback.
Yes, sir.
That's honestly, that's the only answer. If we want to avoid this whole topic that we're talking about, that's the only answer. And that I mean that really comes, and that starts with the talking to our neighbors and getting the message of, well, you know what, find something common to actually have a conversation about. I mean, it could be as simple as, starting a conversation about food or coffee or whatever. So you at least get talking and you realize that people are human.
Right. Common ground. You got to find a commonality. Every conversation, no matter which way it's going, there's some commonality in that conversation. And once you find it, you can build off of that.
Yeah, you definitely can. You definitely can do that. And we need to build off of that, or we've been so split for a long time. And what you realize, you know what today is, right?
9/12.
9/12. Remember what 9/12 was?
The day that
the
day that United States of America came together without disregard to race, creed, where you came from, everybody. You're an American. Everybody came together on this day.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the reasons why I wanted to have this discussion on this day was I particularly picked this day because of it.
John, you postponed me like 3 times.
Yeah, I know, but I was trying to get it. I was supposed to be last day, but I wasn't feeling too well. So then I was like, No,
But I think there's one difference between that time and this time right now. At that time, we had what we thought was one common enemy. Right now, we know it to be several enemies. So it's driving everybody stir crazy, and nobody knows which end is up.
Yeah. Scott Z out there says it's going to be street for street. It's not going to be north from south or east west. It's going to be street for street. And as we said, that's the way it is. You're going to be. I think it's been more than that. It's going to be house to house.
Right.
My neighbors don't have a chance.
Yeah, big gang, or it's just like gangland territory.
Well, you got to look at the situation too. It's like the people that are doing this
Right.
are small. It's not a lot of people. The percentage of them that are causing this is really, really minimal to the people that actually want peace. So it won't. If we did have a civil war, it won't last fucking long. It'll be over before you know it. 6 months tops. 6 months tops. If that long. I mean, the only reason it's going on now. Do what now?
What was that,
The
John?
What'd you say?
I think you might have froze up. So.
Oh, 6 months for a civil war tops, man, because it won't last long because the people that are going to be involved in it are small. It's a small number of people compared to the people that want peace and that don't mind having the amendments. Because if you take the second, you eventually take the first. You'll eventually take this one out, and you'll keep moving on. The only one that I see that there's a problem in is like the 13th, and that's it.
Yeah, everyone sees a problem with that one.
Yeah.
But just Google the 13th Amendment. I was watching Live PD one time, and one of the guys is like getting arrested, and he's like, "You're violating my 13th Amendment." I'm like, "To be taxed?" Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So like that's the only one, but like it's. I don't think it'll last long, even if it even comes to that.
Now, do you guys think the media is pushing it?
Oh yeah,
definitely,
100%. They're pushing it to be worse than what it is.
You haven't said a lot. Do you think the media is pushing it?
Who?
Guns and barbecue. I guess he's not there. Matt,
No, I'm here. I didn't hear you said.
Do you think the media is pushing the narrative that there's a civil war coming and everything else?
I haven't really seen it. But again, that goes back to what's the Civil War? Is it just going to be left versus right groups, or are we thinking it's going to be the government versus the people? If it's just the left versus right groups, then yeah, I think the media is pushing it.
All right. Anybody else want to jump in on this?
I think the 3% rule applies on both sides. So even if the media is pushing it, only 3% are going to fight on the left side, and maybe 3% are going to fight for the right. So that's what it comes down to.
Okay, Matt, how about you? Media pushing it?
When it comes down,
Absolutely. I mean, they've been pushing it for about 2 or 3 years now. And every time they start pushing it, every time that news cycle rolls around, it gets worse and worse.
All right, Johnny V, is the media pushing it?
Oh yeah, the media. Yeah, I'm down for that one being 100% correct because you look at all this stuff. I mean, look what happened with Kyle. He was arrested. They're trying to charge him with murder. They called him a lenti, a white supremacist, when he was innocent and all of the stuff. He was defending his life, and he was up there in Kenosha helping those people out.
All right. MJ, question to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at everything that's being pushed, whether it's written, internet, print, TV. The only thing that is not pushing this whole narrative is literally radio, and then and streamers that are voicing their opinion. That said, I also think that a lot of people are starting to wake up to their thought process and them pushing. And, Michael brought up the 3% rule. And I think it might even be 3% of the left might be ready. But I would even gauge to say, in order to defend themselves, it may be like a 6% of, and that's not, that might be right on the right, 3% on the right side, but also 3% of the people who are just tired of it all.
Interesting.
I can see that.
All right, Silverback. You're the only one we haven't heard from on this topic.
Yeah, I do believe the media plays a big role in the division that's going on. There's a lot more left-leaning media who try to demonize everything that's happening and making the ones who are causing the chaos look like the good guys when they're not the good guys at all. That's why they keep calling them peaceful protesters. And like John said, anybody who is actually being peaceful or defending themselves, they're turning them into monsters. They're demonizing them, So yeah, they're definitely pushing a narrative, I believe. And I was having a discussion with somebody the other day about the media, and it seems like there's like a small group of elite people that own the media outlets. And if you notice, 90% of them are all pushing the same narrative. They're all reporting on the same things and basically saying the same thing about these things as well. So it's hard to say. I mean, is it our government that's doing this, that's pushing the narrative? Is it some, to put that tinfoil hat on, is it some other group like an Illuminati-esque type group that's out there pushing this through the media and has some of our government officials in their pocket, and the government officials are going along with that agenda too?
You can't buy a politician. MJ, you have a point.
Yeah. So I put a lot of thought into this today while driving. And I think it comes down to a 3-tiered system: grievance, symptom, spark. We're waiting for the spark to happen. We have all the grievances being laid out, and they've been laid out for the past 10, 15 years at this point. We're seeing the symptoms of the actual events going down. Atlanta, Portland, LA. Hey, it's 2020. We got, LA's going to burn. It's just a matter of time. And it's not even going to be because of riots, because of wildfires. And we're just going to continue seeing this. I think we're waiting for that spark to really get anything, whether it's going to happen or not, whether it's going to be a regional event or what. I think we're waiting for a big spark to really light a fire up under Americans' ass to make that final decision.
Okay. Well, let me bring up something to you guys. There's a guy, and his name is Yuri Bezmenov. He was a Soviet KGB agent that defected back in the late 70s, early 80s. He was in charge of
Canada.
To Canada. You're correct. And he was talking about active measures. And he talked about the 4 stages. This is scary. This is 1984 where he gave this interview with. He said the first stage is that it will take about 3 generations, and this is back in 1984, and that is to indoctrinate the kids in the schools, to demonize the American way of life, to demonize patriotism. The second phase is to destabilize the country, first economically, and then to on like foreign affairs and military. economically, maybe shutting down the country for a virus. Military cutting military funding for the Green New Deal, which thank God they didn't get through. Foreign affairs, try to legitimize the president, maybe. I don't know. The third phase is crisis, and that's when you exploit a crisis. And since we're in 2020, 2020, and you can pick any crisis the hell you want because it's always out there, Yeah. And the fourth stage is normalization. And normalization means things aren't normal, but he describes when Brezhnev rolled tanks into Czechoslovakia, he said, things are normalized now. That's the third stage of when they take over. What do you think about his warning back from 1984? I'm going to go in order. So I'm going to hit Mike up first from Stop Gun Band. MJ's first name is Mike, so I'm just going to keep on referring to him as MJ. So, Mike, what do you think about his warning? I think we talked about this a little bit on your podcast, I believe. I don't know. I've been doing so many shows that it's...
You want me to go first or MJ?
Mike. Yeah, Mike.
Okay.
You.
Well, I think he was right, and it's a scary proposition because if he is right, then we've had this going on for the past almost 40 years. And I think that right now we are seeing subversion in society, and it's towards the communist agenda. And as a result of that, I think that's why we're seeing groups like Antifa in the streets today. And sadly, this guy called it, and he wouldn't have said it if he wasn't actively trained in it. I mean, the guy was ex-KGB, so why wouldn't he? Right.
All right, now we're going to go to MJ. MJ, it's your turn.
Absolutely. Basically, he just outlined what Saul Alinsky said, just in a much easier, shorter format.
Saul Alinsky wrote a book called Rules for Radicals.
Yes. And that said, he's spot on. I mean, we're seeing some of it happen. We're missing a few stages, missing a few pieces here. And if what we can do is try and disrupt that, and I think, and to the point of the education aspect, I've been actually, through talking to people, I've been hearing about some of the younger generations not drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will, nearly as much. So there, just to let you know, there is still a little bit of hope out there.
All right, we're gonna go to Dust Cowboy Matt. Cowboy producer Matt, what say you?
Yes, as far as the generational thing, it takes 3 generations. I think we are on the second generation right now. I think we are the line that needs to stop everything. It's up to us. It really is. So yeah, I think he's pretty spot on.
All right, Silverback, what's up? What do you think, buddy?
I think we've seen a lot of that stuff happen, and we're seeing a lot of stuff very similar to like what happened when Hitler took over as well, or trying to happen.
1934, man.
Yep.
Telling you. Look what happened in 1934. I'm a student of history.
Right. He came in and they wanted to get rid of the police, defunding the police, so that way his brown coats could go out and ensue chaos and destroy and burn things and scare people into going his way. And that way, if the police weren't there, they wouldn't be able to stop them from doing what they're doing. But yeah, I mean that guy, he hit the nail on the head saying as such. I mean, there's a lot of talk from history that said that I don't know what country it came from. I think it was Russia, saying that they would destroy us from the inside out, and it wouldn't be something that was going to happen quick. It would happen over time. So, there's definitely a lot of indoctrination in schools going on, which is why we pulled our kids out of school. It's one of the reasons why we pulled our kids out of school, because they're not teaching them actual facts. They're just teaching them how to pass like state tests, and that's it. So,
All right, guns and barbecue.
Yeah, I think he was spot on. It's a slow process, but as the years go by, I think we see that process coming to fruition more and more.
Awesome, short, sweet, and to the point. And Sifu.
I think he's close. I think normalization came first. And when I say normalization, I mean it was programmed. It was programmed into people through the movies you watch, through the television through the news, through all the media sources that you've seen.
Well,
And it kind of normalized us and got us numb to where when it actually started happening, it was, okay, this is just another thing.
Well, when he said normalization, what you're describing is, if you ever read his writings, that's his first stage. Normalization is he basically says it's called normalization because by that point you're telling everyone, okay,
This is normal.
This is normal. We can go back to normal, but that's basically the end goal. Is
right, but I think it was programmed first.
Well,
is what I'm saying.
The first stage is actually doing the programming, what you're talking about. So the first stage, what he said the first stage, what you're saying the first stage is what he said the first stage was going to be.
Right, but I think that is a form of normalization, is where we see it as normal. So when we get to the end, right? When you get to the end, you're already, because okay, if tanks start rolling through the streets right now, you're not going to see that as normal, even if they tell you it's normal. But if you're programmed to it, when it gets to the end, you'll see it as normal. You see what I mean? So like I kind of get what you're saying. Yeah, but I think we were programmed into the normalization all the way through. And I think the programming kept going on, even with the COVID thing. A lot of people don't even believe it. A lot of people don't, and the ones that do say, "Oh, it's just like the flu," it's normal. Even though even whatever is normal, and so I just think that I think he's spot on. But I think the normalization is programmed throughout the whole sequence of events. You see does that make sense? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Because look at us now. We're like, there are people like looting and fighting and rioting and doing all this stuff, and most people are just watching it on TV like it's another day.
Look at masks, there. Normalization. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have a medical condition. And I mean, I get looked at when I walk into Walmart or wherever without a mask. I mean, it is what it is. They're going to deal with it. But yeah, it's been normalized into the psyche of the American people. Just like you would see it in China.
Yeah,
exactly. And like when you're in the military and you have to deal with like chemical agents or anything like that, you're damn sure ain't gonna wear just a plain mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so here we have the world's worst disease or airborne illness or whatever you want to call it. And to wear just a plain piece of paper across your face is normal now. It's been normalized. It's the right thing to do now. You see what I mean? So it's been programmed into your mind from time and time again. And you get that from every time you go to the doctor, they got a mask on. No matter what, like you can have the flu and come in there dying and they'll walk in with that small mask. I mean, just little things like that you see that you don't notice, but now you feel that this is the right thing to do. Is normalization. So by the time it does get to the point where tanks are rolling down the street, it's going to be just another day to walk to the store.
I know this is just a little bit off topic, but it goes completely to what you're saying on normalization, and it all starts from like movies and such. Pedophilia has been something that's been up and coming on the news, or at least the social media thing. Look at the movie or Netflix thing called Cuties. You cannot tell me that it's not trying to normalize pedophilia. And so if you just your mindset there, or mindset of it all starts with trying to normalize things in movies and progress from there. Just watch it from that mindset.
Pedos get the rope.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to HawaiianHouse.org and you use the company for 10% off, you can get make pedophile swing patches. So
I don't have that. Can you put it up in the YouTube chat there, John?
yeah, of course. Oh, I'll put it right here. Actually, I got a sponsor button here. Let's see.
HawaiianHouse.org. All right.
Yeah, they're a cool company. I will do that one though. Yeah, so that is very interesting. An interesting thing with that movie Cuties is they were like, well, it's actually anti-child exploitation, but we had to exploit children to make the movie. It's just like, what?
And they're trying to spin it on their freaking racist point. Oh, it's a black child, so therefore you're no, it's a child. It's an 11-year-old child you're exploiting. Oh, need to say I'm not very happy about that.
Yeah. Feels bad about that.
They call you racist because you don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll call you racist if you don't like it because of that.
I don't give a shit who calls me racist. I'm not. I don't care what your opinion is.
Yeah.
My answer to that is always
Stand
this.
with you, Matt.
I am not a racist. I don't drive a race car.
All right. So Matt's not a racist. Silverback's not a racist. MJ, are you a racist?
Absolutely not. I hate everybody equally.
Guns and barbecue.
No.
Okay, no. Matt, this Cowboy's not a racist. Stop gun bans. Are you a racist?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so Davy Boy Jones is the only racist in here.
Yeah, I got plenty of erasers. Like for me, like I don't I'm not a racist or anything, and I don't believe in like I believe that there are,
There's definitely racist.
there's definitely racists, and there's situations with everybody that you see a situation and you automatically think, okay, it's because of that person's color or something like that, but that doesn't mean you're a racist. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We got to look at things more nuanced, and we don't look at. We try to group everything. We can't see. We look at the big picture when we need to look at the little details in the picture as well. Not every cop shooting is every time a white cop shoots a black guy. Not every time that happens is a racist cop.
Motivated, right?
But that doesn't mean every time that
right.
I mean, it doesn't happen either. So because it does happen. So that's what I'm saying. We can't just look at it as, oh, this happens. Just you guys get what I'm saying?
There's good and bad everywhere.
Right. That's all got to do with the programming, like Davey Boy.
The programming. I was going to say the same thing.
Programming, and I think the norm has not been that we're programmed to do certain things, but we're programmed again by a lot of things coming down from the media to just trust our government, to not think for ourselves and not question authority. So,
one word: desensitized.
There's been a lot of desensitization that's happened. Again, that's all part of the programming and the new norm. So that's how they're normalizing things, is by desensitizing us and making us not want to think for ourselves and not want to question authority.
All right, we're gonna start wrapping.
Kind of like what Hitler did.
I want to ask everyone. Take as much time as you want. I will start going around the room. Matt, are you there? Because your camera's off. I don't know.
Yeah.
You are breaking up, Matt. I'll come back to you. I'm gonna go to. Let's go to MJ.
Sure.
MJ,
it is what it is.
Is there hope?
Yes.
And Davey boy, I'm going to do you last because you're my Sifu. It's a question on hope, and we did a whole podcast on hope. So go ahead.
I really do believe that there is some hope. And hope relies not on the people on the right, on the left. It's the centrists, the people that are going to say, just enough. I'm tired of you. Stop and listen to yourselves. You guys sound like a bunch of lunatics, and you'll see it. You'll see those centrist people say it to the extreme hardcore crazy people on the right, extreme hardcore crazy people on the left. They are our hope. A couple of you guys, Silverback, you specifically mentioned you pulled your tiny humans out of the education system. I don't blame you in many ways. I have in the past had some vast experiences in that situation, and I've also seen even inside there's hope with some of our younger generations. A lot of it does stem with the people in the military, the people who are bringing their kids up to have values. They're being taught responsibility, and it's also on people to hold our younger generation to that responsibility. If we can regain that aspect back, taking responsibility for our actions, I think more hope can continue to be restored for the future to avoid this whole shenanigan.
All right, let's go to the Cowboy now. Let's see if he could. All right, let's hear you talk, Matt.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of hard to follow up on MJ on that because I think he's pretty well right. Or a lot of people look at the left and look at the right, and they don't really realize that the right is a minority and the left is a minority. The mass of the population of the United States of America is in the middle. They're fence riders. That's why you have all these swing states, and the elections can be hard to predict. With that said, this civil war, if it were to happen, would be between the left and the right. The two minorities are engaging each other, and the middle or people in the middle will be just calling everybody out and trying to put a calm to it. It's a scary thought. It really is. But yes, there is hope. Just for the simple fact that the majority of Americans are fence riders.
Silverback.
Well, there's always hope. It's whether or not what's instilled in us to bring that hope out is where it comes from. Once the fire is done burning, you ever seen a forest fire goes and burns down the forest, and what happens later on? Stuff grows back, right? So out of the fire comes new life. I think hope is going to stem from getting the younger generations away from the technology era, getting them outside a little bit more, and getting them to learn how to think for themselves and question things more. But yeah, there's hope. It's just whether or not people are willing to listen and get out there and inspire and get other people to understand that, not life isn't all that bad and you can always make it better.
Yeah. I just want to say technology wise, there is a movie out there called on Netflix. We just have on Netflix or Match Cats. It's on Netflix and it's called the Social Media Dilemma. Before you delete your Netflix account, watch that account. I can attest to everything in there being 100% accurate. I used to work for Facebook, and when I worked at Facebook, everything they said in there is accurate as hell. But okay, let's go to guns and barbecue. Two of my favorite things.
Absolutely. I think there's hope. As long as we can sit and have a conversation like this, there's always going to be hope. Obviously you got your people that are far right and far left, and you can have any conversation you want with them, but you're never going to change your mind. But it's the people that are open-minded that whether you have opposing views or not, you can sit down, have a conversation, and you might open their eyes to a point of view that you have, and they might open your eyes to a point of view they have. But as long as we're open-minded and, like I said, have these conversations, there's always hope then.
Yeah, I tried to get some left-leaning people on, but none of them wanted to come on. Okay. Sifu, you're up.
I think there's hope, and in order to have hope, we have to have knowledge. We got to get wisdom, meaning we have to understand each other and where each other's coming from, and then we, like you said, we have to find a common ground between everyone. Hope comes from the people that are willing to stand up, and to, like, all the leaders, and to come together and say, hey, this is how I feel, and discuss it with each other. I had a guy the other day, we were talking about Trump versus Biden, and he was kind of pissed because I was like, Trump, I was talking about Trump, and he's like, well, Biden is this and that and other. So we started discussing it. And I said, I heard Biden thing the other day where Biden was doing an interview, and he says that, he's going to tax the rich. And I explained to him how that's not going to happen. The way they are taxed, but in order for you to understand how they don't pay taxes, you have to understand how money operates. And therefore, by you not understanding how money operates, you don't understand how the rich, because the laws are for everyone. You don't understand how the rich bypasses taxes. And here's his idea from what he said, Biden said about taxing the rich. He said, if anyone makes over $400,000 a year, he's going to tax them. Well, $400,000 a year is mom and pop stores.
Yeah, but
he didn't get that.
Yeah,
that's mom and pop stores.
That applies.
You see what I mean? Yeah, that's small businesses. That's the same businesses. That's the same businesses that were destroyed in the riots. That's what they're attacking them businesses even further.
Destroyed from COVID. Destroyed. I mean, just.
Mm-hmm. And see, with hope comes understanding. If you start speaking to them in that, and he was like, "Damn, I didn't even notice that. I didn't even kind of get that." And I'm like, "Yeah, $400,000 business is the person that has 2 employees. The $1 million business is the person that's got 5 employees. That's the little chicken shack down the road, or that's the mom and pop grocery store down the road that's getting taxed the worst anyway, because they don't understand money and how money operates." And so in talking to him about it and hearing his point of view versus my point of view, we came to a common ground. He's still voting for who he's going to vote for, but he understands more of where I was coming from. I kind of understand where he's coming from. That's where hope lies. Hope lies in us reaching a common ground and an understanding between each other, as far as this is why I believe the way I believe. And, I want you to understand it without me yelling and destroying stuff and this and that and the other. You have to look at us as a people, as a unit, as Americans. You see what I mean? And look at how we need to support each other. Even if you don't like Trump, he's still your president. You know what I mean? He's still the representation of the people of America. So even if you don't like him, you still have to, you can't sit there and say, oh, F Trump, oh, Trump ain't this. You have your opinions. You can say it. That's the First Amendment. But say it within here. Don't let the world see that you don't like the president. You see what I mean? Don't let the world see us divided. Let's handle our situation right here. You know what I mean? Let's handle the situation right here with us. And that's where hope lies. Hope lies in when you handle your home in your home. And America's our home.
One of the things, I see what you mean. And the reason why I went to you last, and one of the things that you guys are going to notice is I have talked to Davey Boy for a few times here. Had him on the podcast for a couple times, and I'm having him up on the screen right there because I knew he probably was going to go into my next and final question, so I didn't want to ruin that.
But you forgot me, Crumpy.
Oh crap! Okay, go. Sorry.
Damn it!
Yes, there is hope. It's stop gun bans, not guns and barbecue. But yes, there is
I grabbed the wrong one. I dragged the wrong one in.
Fair enough. The fact of the matter is,
You
there is
forgot me
hope.
too.
One of the first things they teach in political science is that when you run for office, you go to the far extreme of your party. You want to rein in those votes. So you're seeing Biden go to the far extreme of the left. You're seeing Trump go to the far extreme of the right. But when it's finally time for this time of the election, when it's the general election, that each side's supposed to kind of center out, because the majority of the country does look at things from the center. So when people say, oh, well, this guy wins or that guy wins, this is going to happen, they're looking at it right now based on what they were saying in the primaries. And of course, we've had 4 years of Trump, and we know what he is and isn't going to do. So with Biden, you've had this general fear that everything he's saying that's so bad is going to happen will happen. But we don't know that for sure yet, and hopefully we never find out. But the fact is, there's hope, because at the end of the day, the center line of thought always wins. And that's really all I had to say about it.
All right, I'm gonna go to John Voorhees, and we got 2 more questions. One question is just a wrap up question, but go ahead, John.
Everything we've been talking about is true, and there were some other things. When some Max brought up Hitler, I wanted to chime in and talk about that Enabling Act, which basically whatever the president would sign would go straight to the Reich's chancellor, which was Hitler. And it would make constitutional suspended freedom of speech in certain areas, the press. Look at that, then you look at Night of the Long Knives.
Yeah, but
and then the Nuremberg laws of 1935.
But is there hope? That's the question. Is there hope left?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's hope. We need a vote. We need a petition. We need to do everything peaceful before, going into this big civil war that we've been discussing about tonight.
Okay. All right. And I'm gonna hit you up right away for a second question. What should people do out there? And this is Debbie Boy. You've already answered this question of what people should do is to talk to people and to listen. But I knew he was gonna do that.
Get out, vote, do stuff people. Yeah. Talk
Get
to
out
people. Sorry, I'm a little tired today, but
all right. So get out and vote. All right. What should people do out there? MJ.
Mostly Trump supporters.
All right.
We have very few Biden supporters. You talk to his friends.
I think John's is John.
Where everything is, they might disagree on stuff, but they understand where you're.
It looks like he went offline. John Voorhees, if you're out there, come back in. Actually, I think I might have accidentally kicked him.
I'm alive.
Oops.
Bad John.
John Voorhees, come back in. I accidentally kicked you. MJ.
Yes. So talk, have a conversation, be a human. Hey, it's just that simple. Take a cup of coffee, have a beer. Hey, there's a great opportunity for a cookout. Talk. That's what's going to keep everybody from being. Understand your neighbors, understand understand the other side as well. Understand their arguments, so that way you're better to have that discussion.
All right. Let's go. Let's go to stop gun bans.
What should people do?
Yeah, what should people do? It's an open-ended question. I know. It's supposed to be.
People should. I mean, all the answers so far have been right. You need to talk to your neighbors. You need to get out there and vote. And basically, you just need to have a voice and be heard. And if you can't agree with everybody, that's normal, and you have to accept that. And if you're on the losing side, that's normal. You have to accept that. There's always winners and losers in life. And no matter what happens, as long as people can be civil with each other, then we're going to be fine at the end of the day.
All right.
I think that being civil with each other is probably the hardest part.
All right, I'm gonna go back to Davey Boy. What should people do out there?
Stop coming at people hostile. Stop being so hostile in your opinion. Yelling your opinion or wanting to riot in your opinion, or and I can understand where I can understand why they rioted. I don't understand what they rioted, why they did, the riots, where they did them, and why they tore the mom and pop stores. But the reason for rioting and the reason the anger is up there, and I understand that the reason behind it. But as far as like the left versus the right and all that stuff, I think you should just stop bringing your opinions so hostile to people. There's no reason for you to run up to somebody's house and start pulling up Trump signs, or somebody with a Trump flag to just, antagonize people who are Biden supporters. Just go out there and figure out why they're a Biden supporter. Tell them why you're a Trump supporter. Be more peaceful about the situation. Because if the left versus the right, does come to a civil war, there's obviously going to be a winner, and we already know who that is. So that's just my opinion on it.
Yep. All right, Matt, that's Cowboy.
There's been a lot of great opinions that's been spoken upon. Talk and stop being so hateful towards each other, and they're all right. I mean, or like I mentioned earlier, I've just gotten fed up. I've tried to stay middle of the fence. Weigh decisions on both parties and choose which one the facts back up the best. And I just got tired of it. I guess it's mostly because not only have my job been affected, my schooling was affected. Don't have that anymore, so I'm back in the workforce, making about half what I made before, all because of the Democratic Party, literally. So that's things that affected me. I'm a grown man and I can handle that. But once the decisions came about and it started affecting my children, you don't fuck with kids. So I've sort of shifted a little further right than I had my whole life, just because of that simple fact. But I'm actually grateful to come on here and talk to some of our great fellow friends. I know some of you. I talk to most of you quite frequently, and a couple of you, I'll be sending you some friend requests. For pulling me back to the middle, and that is basically what we need to do. We have our own friends that reach that line and they just go far right, or they reach that line, they go far left. We need to also reach out to our friends, not just strangers, our friends, and try and pull them back to the middle. Because that is what America is. Like I mentioned earlier, you got 10% extreme left, 10% extreme right, and 80% of America's in the middle. We need to start pulling each other back to the middle. We don't have to agree on everything.
All right, guns and barbecue.
I think what people need to do is just be open-minded. Listen to all the points of view, all the facts. People need to stop plugging their ears and going la 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 la. I can't hear you. And find out, what that person with the opposing view has to say, and if it turns into a debate or something, cool. Doesn't mean it has to be an argument or anything. I think there's a fine line between debates and arguments. But yeah, we just need to be open-minded, respect each other, and respect each other's points of views. And it doesn't mean you have to meet in the middle all the time. You can say, well, I understand why you say that, but I have this view, and move on. Or, like I said, you could possibly have your mind changed.
All right, and I think I've already been to stop gun bans, so I'm going to go back to him now anyway. Final question. Where can people find you?
Facebook.com/stopgunbans, stopgunbans.com, and Twitter @stopgunbans.
That is pretty easy there. Stop gun bans.
Really easy.
Make sure you stop gun bans and stopgunbans.com up on the screen right now.
We're trying. And we have a weekly podcast on Anchor, anchor.fm/stopgunbans. And this week, Crumpy was my guest. So if you haven't heard it, go listen.
All right, and thanks, Scott Z. He's leaving. Okay, let's go to MJ. MJ, where can people find you?
Okay, you guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube, Wrecker RC. WRECKER RC. Although RC is my passion, as you can see behind, yet again, I am a staunch believer in values, American values, and family values.
All right, guns and barbecue.
I've got a Facebook page. I have no idea what the URL for it is though. If you want to find anything for me, it's just on YouTube's the best way. And the page is just guns and BBQ.
All right, cool.
DownTheBarrelOfficial.com, Down the Barrel Official on Facebook, Down the Barrel Official on Instagram, or Down.the.barrel on Instagram. Yeah, you can't miss me. You can't miss me on any of my things. So
Check out some of the Black Rambo guns. Those things are sweet.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, Down the Barrel Official. You can't miss me, Davey Boy Bones.
All right. The silverback gorilla. I can't put you over there. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You can find me in the jungle.
That's what she said.
Oh,
You can find me here on the YouTubes, Gorillas and Guns. That's my channel. You can find me. I got a Facebook page, Gorillas and Guns. I'm over on Gunstreamer, Gorillas and Guns, Patreon, all that fun stuff. And soon to find me over on Black Swan Tactical.
Oh, yeah. We're working on some stuff over there. BlackSwanTactical.com. Use code company for 10% off. Or Liberty for 10% off. I don't care which one you use. It's my website, so use whatever damn code you want. And we also have an affiliate program too. So if you want to become an affiliate, you can become an affiliate and make money, 7% on all sales. All right, John Voorhees, where can people find you?
You can find on Facebook, John Michael Voorhees, Gunny John 29 on Instagram, John Voorhees on YouTube. Just look for the avatar of a pistol.
All right, awesome. All right, guys, that is it. Let me know if you like this Saturday night special. This format usually it's one-on-one, but we did like a whole cacophony of
John.
Yeah.
Great panel. It was a good time.
I know. I Matt, go ahead. Where can people find you? Sorry.
Pretty much right now, I'm only on Facebook. I'm setting up other accounts. Matt Desk Cowboy. There is a professional page out there, or a public figure page rather, and also all the time here, John Crump 2 on YouTube. Just comment something on here, and I will get back to you.
All right, that's awesome. All right, thank you to Hawaiian House. You go to hawaiianhouse.org, use code company for 10% off. Remember the Mantis X Elite giveaway at 2,000 subscribers. This thing will help you suck less. Mantis is the Tesla of guns. I talked to Austin over there the other day. I love mine. I love my Blackbeard, which is coming out. They make some really cool stuff that actually works. Just find me over at company.com. That is it for tonight. Like I said, let me know. Drop me a line. Let me know if you like this format or not. And yeah. That is it. And I will see you guys Monday.